Hi, everyone.
Hello.
Welcome.
I don't see anyone.
Oh, you have to hit gallery view, Bill. Hello,
Hey,
Kathy.
there's Cappy.
Oh, nice.
Hi, Maud. Nice
Hello.
background.
Hi, Maud.
You hear that I said hi to you earlier. Oh, look at that beard, it's growing. Ooh. So there
I like that. I like that view of Elizabeth Green, that background. Wow.
yeah.
Is that the real thing?
No, you can only see it in winter in the way up north.
Yeah, it's an Idaho sunshiny day.
Right.
It's really sagebrush.
Really cold. But apparently the Metropolitan Opera was advertising some backgrounds also. I'm going to look into those.
Yeah, Zoom has a bunch of backgrounds that you
They
can
do.
set. Yeah.
Ah.
Like being on a beach.
Oh, yeah.
And the waves are coming and it's really fun.
Oh, and yeah, because mine is sort of moving a little bit also. Yeah.
My background has a great big orchid in it, as you can see. That's from Sarah for my birthday.
Oh,
happy birthday, Bill.
Happy birthday.
Still alive.
June 6th.
What? June 6th?
Yeah.
I should have known that you're a Gemini.
Yeah.
Right? He's the quintessential Gemini.
What clues you in? It's
So
my sales technique.
Mine is on the 18th. Oh, God. Everything that can go wrong has gone wrong in June. It's fabulous.
Jerry Feinberg.
So all of those who are waiting, we're just waiting for a few more people to join in. Sarah has quite a group going here.
Ooh, that's great.
Hi, Diane.
Hi, Janet. Hi,
Oh,
Tom.
Hey, Tom.
Nice. Tom Caston.
Oh, great.
Hi, everybody. Great to see smiling faces.
Where's your better half?
Truly.
She may be tutoring downstairs. I have no idea. We only see each other at night.
Okay, then, whatever works.
Yeah.
How many people do we
Oh,
have?
there's Richard. Hey, Richard.
Hey, Richard.
Oh, Richard, you got to unmute yourself. You see the little.
Hi, Donna.
Hi.
Hi.
That's a nice. Hey, Richard, that's a nice background you got there.
Who? Me?
Richard, your background.
Garden. Are you outside on the deck, Richard? You need to unmute yourself so you can speak. See the little.
I think that's the Northern Lights from Zoom. That's one of their backgrounds.
Mist.
Right.
Oh,
It is our garden that he took last month when everything was in bloom at the on the waterfall. And he's muted, so he can't say that, but I can. Hi.
Paula, I missed you.
Hey. Hi,
Where's
Barbara.
Paula?
I just saw you. And Donna. Oh, look, I'm seeing all these people I just saw 10 seconds ago. On another. Okay, I'm going to go mute now. I'm going to stop talking.
Hi, Chris.
Hey, Chris. This is fun to see everybody's faces. It's lovely.
Great.
So I'm just seeing we're getting our more folks are joining. So I think we have about 100 people joining us today. So we'll give this just a couple more minutes and see if we can get our full group together, and then we'll jump in and do a tour and have a nice conversation.
The gallery's been it's so empty. It's so spooky downtown. There's no one downtown. The windows are all boarded up. Nice to see everyone.
I hear someone's chimes.
Hey, Bill, I'm ready for another lunch at upstairs at the market.
Okay,
Yeah.
we'll just have to wait for the market to open up. Although I was over there today and there were quite a few people over there. And I noticed a few of the restaurants are getting ready to open.
That's great. Our governor just shut down the bars and restaurants.
Saw that.
Again.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, it's getting higher in Seattle too. I hope they don't have to do that again.
Yeah.
I think we're going back to 1.5. I was talking to a friend who runs a restaurant, and they said they were given a heads up, but he didn't know when that was happening. So if there's anywhere you really want to go to, and get a reservation for tomorrow.
Yeah.
Mr. Taylor.
I'm on the campus, baby. It's raining and beautiful at Pilchuck.
Nice. I bet it's nice and lush.
It is wonderfully lush. And if I stop my video, which I probably need to do because my internet is bad on the mountain, you'll get to see this. Oh, wait, no, it didn't show up. There's a photo of me and Dale. Oh, why didn't it show up? Let me see if I can make that.
You and Dale with your drawing, with your painting.
Yeah, last summer. Yeah, he was magical last summer. Hi, Maud. Hi, others. Sorry.
Mm-hmm.
Is it a Merletto drawing, Chris?
It was front of his, God, what would it be? Maybe a basket drawing. He was up here with the gals last summer. Yeah.
Yeah, it was the 50th anniversary drawing that he made for us.
Nice.
And you're 49. Love it. You're 48, I guess. Yeah. Hi, Tom. I don't see you, but I heard your voice.
I flipped to the first page. I think he's on the
Hi,
first.
Chris.
Okay, so I think we should go ahead and get started here, be respectful of everybody's time. It is so nice to see you all. Thank you for joining tonight. It's like, I love that we did this so that we could see each other too. I think it's really nice to be able to wave and be in community and talk to each other. So the basic plan for the evening is we're gonna do, Susan, Bill, and I will give a guided tour of the exhibition. I will kind of act as moderator, ask some questions. Susan's gonna jump in with some questions for me and Bill as well. And for that portion of the tour, we're gonna ask everybody to mute and turn off their videos. And we're gonna do a little bit of Zoom trickery. So bear with me if you will. For those that don't know, to mute, you go down to the bottom left of your screen and you click the microphone. And then you're gonna go to the camera button at the bottom left and click that to turn that off. And then go to one of the, to anybody's icon where they've turned their camera off, and you should see 3 little ellipses at the top right. If you click on that, you can select hide non-video participants. Go ahead and select that. And if you are in speaker view as opposed to gallery view, you should see a big image that says Traver Gallery. That's the outside of our gallery space.
Mm-hmm.
Has everybody got that?
Yep.
Okay.
Already see that.
So once we're there, if anybody has any questions, go ahead and drop them in a chat and we can answer that for you. I'm happy to be tech support here as well. So great. So I just want to thank you all for joining. It is with really great pride that we have this exhibition of Dale's in the gallery right now. I have to say it's a little bit strange to have it up during a pandemic when people are really limited and not able to come out and celebrate the exhibition with us. So this is special to have you all here with us tonight in lieu of our sort of normal opening celebration, and we really appreciate you taking the time to view the work and engage with us. And we have 2 Chihuly experts in the room with us. We have Susan Marabito, who I think, as many of you know, has been a passionate advocate of the arts here in Seattle for more than 20 years. She has been a colleague of mine for more than 15 years. She was my boss for a while, taught me a lot of what I know about glass. And in, how many years ago, Susan, did you go to Dale's?
7.
So about 7 years ago, she changed positions and went to work for Dale and Leslie at Chihuly Studio, where she is a manager of client services, but really she works specifically on the gallery programming and works very closely with the gallerists and Dale and Leslie to develop programming and exhibitions of the work around the world. So she obviously steeped in knowledge about Dale's work. The other person that we have here tonight is my pops, who I think probably needs no introduction at all. He's the founder of Traver Gallery, my mentor, and really was one of the very first people in the country to start exhibiting the work of the studio glass artists, and helped lead the way in creating a market and an interest in studio glass around the world. So total expert here. Let me see. Did I miss anything? We talked about our plan for the evening. We got our videos set. So Deb, why don't you go ahead and take us into the gallery and we'll take a look at the show. So this exhibition, Chihuly Merletto, unveils a new collection of sculptures by Dale, sculptures and drawings. And the sculptures are all from Dale's Basket series, but they are quite unique in a number of ways. And we'll talk about some of those now. Susan, can you start just by telling us a little bit about when Dale began work on this series?
The Merletto started last summer in July and August, and it was first conceived with Jimmy Mongrain and Dale were talking, and they were looking at a cover shot of one of Dale's drawing books from 2003, and it was a pencil drawing where he held a lot of pencils in his hand and would draw with all these pencils in his hand. And it was thin, delicate lines, and this particular image was of baskets. And it reminded them of the old Venetian technique, or a Milanese technique from the 15th century, of a lace pattern called Merletto. So they have some very technically skilled glass blowers on Dale's team. So Dale was able to do some experimenting with this technique. It took some time. Paula Stokes, who's on this call, was a big part of the whole process and the testing. In the beginning, he tested it on different colors, but ended up wanting to use this beautiful white cane that's very stiff. Because of the properties of the caning, he can get these different patterns inside. So the whole collection ended up to be all with white cane, blown on clear glass or blown with a little bit of white, or blown on black, and there was a couple colors of black. So we're looking at the white right now. It's beautiful, Deb, with that background of the green tree. And then if you focus in on some of the pieces inside, you can see the different patterning that happens with the cane working and the beautiful white lip wrap as well.
Is this, I don't think I'm mistaken in this. This is the first time that Dale has used cane working in his sculptures. Is that true?
It's possible. Dale's been working for 50 years. This is the first time that I've ever seen cane working. But I can't speak to all those experimental times in the beginning. He did work with lino quite a bit, but I've never seen any work with caning in it before.
He's actually, in the past, he has used cane, but in a very different way. The cane was never this continuous cane work. It's more like strips of cane or bits of cane in the work, but never this sort of, Deborah, if you go in close to one of them, you'll see how the cane work is continuous. So it really keeps going, wrapping around and over and over and over again, as opposed to a little short chips of cane.
Yeah, what you're seeing, Bill, is like a twisted cane, a white cane that has clear over top. They twist it, they pick it up on a bubble, and then they blow it into a fin mold, and it creates all different sorts of pattern. When they're picking up the twisted cane and sorting them, there's all different patterns in those. I think what you're thinking about maybe is the wrapping, when we do a hot wrap around a piece, or the lip wrap and drag a piece down. So it's a little bit different, but you're right, the effect is totally something that I've never seen before. I mean, I'm familiar with Xantherico and Reticello, but I personally have never seen this happen, and even seeing it in the hot shop being made, it still blows my mind on, you're doing what? And it's happening this quickly, and the way the team worked together and the effects of the patterning. So like on that piece on the back side with the black lip wrap, that's a really tight cane working pattern. Look at how tight that one is. So completely different, really veil-like, but still very, very sharp. And I've been told that's because of the durability, or the hardness of the cane itself. There was an artist by the name of Mark Peiser who had this particular cane, and it was in very short supply. So the Chihuly worked with Bullseye to create it again so that he can create these pieces.
So what you're looking at here is all of these individual pieces. Dale wanted to show them on one large steel table, which they constructed in the studio and brought it into the gallery. So Deborah, if you step back, you can see the full length of that steel table through the length of the entire gallery. We actually took down a number of walls in the gallery to accommodate this table. So it's quite spectacular in the space.
It's 35 feet, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's the first time the gallery's been opened up this much in one large space.
Yeah, I think even with the last show, which was the Rotolo show, you still had the walls up, did you not?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. And that show was when?
That show was in 2013, if you can believe it. And that was the last time that Dale had a solo gallery exhibition in Seattle. Which is...
Oh, sorry.
Go ahead.
This piece I just want to bring up is one of the largest and I think one of the most beautiful pieces in the show. It's just like a big cloud. It's so soft and it is like a cloud. It's like it doesn't really exist, but it does. It's one of the things I love about this body of work of Dale's is the simplicity of it. You're very familiar, most of you, with Dale's other works, and they're all very full of color and fairly dense and very a lot going on, where these pieces are just so simple and clean.
Yeah, it's interesting. They have a real ethereal quality to them. I think particularly these all white pieces, and the really restricted use of color, that monochromatic palette, I think allows you to see a lot within just the white, the way that the light plays on the surface. There's so many variations of color within the white. It goes from this sort of opalescent blue to a really kind of milky to a completely clear. They're quite stunning. And I also, I think because of the lack of color it really allows you to see the graphic quality of the work as well, the use of line. And that's something that I think Dale has done throughout his career, using those lip wraps to really accentuate the form, almost like a drawn line in space. And Deb, maybe you can turn around for a second and take a look at some of the drawings on the walls, because this is something that Susan mentioned in passing earlier, that these Merletto pieces were really, came from the connection to the drawings and the gesture of the drawings, that energy of taking 30 pencils as a group and creating this, this sort of dense line and energy. It's really go ahead.
There you go.
Yeah.
I've during this period of time where we've been isolated at home, I've been watching a lot of programs on Amazon, and one of the programs I've been watching is this use of the Hubble spacecraft and the photographs that have been taking of the outer space, the planets and all that. And these pieces just bring that right home with me. It's just like looking into these outer space planetary things that are going on. That's not to take away from the baskets, but they were really spatial pieces.
These drawings, so in addition to using charcoal and graphite, Dale uses a lot of other materials as well. Susan, can you talk about some of the things that he brings into the studio when he does the drawings?
Well, these in particular, there is a coffee base, and that's what that splattering of color is. But he also used the pastel chalks on some of the colors as well. And they did a little bit of experimenting where Jimmy would take a whole tub full of ice and place it on top of a piece of paper, which is normally Arch's watercolor paper, and then torch it to get a pattern as well. This one, I believe, might have had orzo underneath because I see the spotting. Many of you probably have already seen the video where Dale holds up his bag of orzo and he says, "Orzo fresh from Italy." That's what he's throwing underneath the paper, and as he draws on top of it.
So he's
Also,
basically creating like a rubbing, right, to get those little dark spots.
Right.
Also, Deborah, focus in on that one you're looking at right now. Up at the top, you'll see inscription. All of this work is kind of dedicated or are dedicated to Italo, and most of you have probably heard of Italo Scanga, who was one of Dale's teachers at one point, and a dear friend who passed away. And Italo inspired Dale a lot. So a lot of these are inscribed to Italo Scanga.
You had a relationship as well with Italo Scanga and produced some catalogs, didn't you, and had shows, Phil?
Italo, we've done a number of shows over the years for Italo early on in the gallery when we were still in Belltown. He was quite a character. He always went up to Pilchuck every summer and would hang out up there and work with Dale and with the students there. He was an amazing artist in his own right, quite famous, from San Diego.
Wasn't he the one who sang opera?
Pardon
me? He was singing opera throughout the whole. You could hear the echoes of the opera all around Pilchuck.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was yeah.
Do you have a favorite of these drawings, these paintings, Bill?
I do. Down at the far end, far left-hand side, that one there is one of my favorites. Go in close, take a look at it. It's a beautiful piece. And these are all very reasonably priced. I think these are priced at around $17,000 for the framed pieces. And these are major works of his, the most recent works he's done. And now after how many years, 50 years of working, this is really a culmination of a lot of years of work to come up with this work.
Yeah, he started drawing probably in after his car accident, so probably late 70s. He started doing these paintings, which he calls drawings. In the beginning, and in a particular series, the Venetian series, it was a way to communicate with his team about what he wanted to be made that day or in the future. He enjoys drawing quite a bit, and with the hot shop closing down, we're just firing back up right now. It's another way of his creative spirit to come out. He's able to be painting now.
Trevor, if you keep going, I'll show them one of my favorites of this series, the clear one, is I think the one you're coming up on right now. Yeah, this is a real beauty. This with the three objects inside. It's just, again, it's very light and airy and just looks like a cloud, like a bubble you might blow on, one of those bubble things that you blow as a kid. It's just so thin and light and delicate.
So, Bill, maybe you can talk a little bit about some of the things that you look for in Dale's work. Like, what is it that would, if you were thinking about building a collection, what are some of the qualities that you would look for in a piece?
Well, I think one of the things I look for is the combination of pieces, how they fall together, how they complement each other. Like in this piece, you can see the outside curvature of the piece holding all of the interior pieces, and they have a real, it looks like it belongs together, really all the pieces fit so beautifully together. And then the lines, the way the lip wraps accentuate, create space within space within space to give you this variety. So no matter how you approach a piece, it's always so beautifully sculptural and keeps changing. So that's the thing about Dale's work, that they're so dynamic in terms of the way they change as you move around them, and of course the way the light changes night and day. They're constantly changing. Beautiful work.
Yeah, this particular one, we captured almost a blue luminescent pearl-like shadow on it when we photographed it for the catalog. So some of you have a picture of this in your catalog, and it looks totally different under artificial light. You're getting that beautiful flood of natural light and artificial light combination on these pieces.
You can see how well you can see why Dale picked this black steel table to place these pieces on them. However, they look good. We've set some in other situations too, where there's a lot of color around them on other, like a wooden table or other tables, and they work also. But for this particular installation, it really shows off the work. Now this chandelier, go ahead.
Oh, no, that's okay. Go ahead.
I was just saying, this is one of the, you're all familiar with Dale's chandeliers. And again, this is all done in white and bits of gold so that it really complements the whole room and the show itself. It hangs in the corner window of the gallery. So at night, not that anybody's downtown looking in windows, but as you drive down First Avenue, we leave it lit at night, and it's just spectacular in the window.
Actually, we've had occasion to be here late into the evening a handful of times, and this exhibition completely changes shape from day to night. It's really spectacular. And I so wish that I could host a big cocktail party here at like 9 p.m. just as the sun is setting, so that you could all see how beautiful this work is as the light starts to change and the pieces go from this sort of crisp white to this kind of glowing almost yellow. They're so gorgeous. And in fact, some of the some of the images that we've been sending out are from a photo shoot that we did later in the evening. So you guys may have seen some of those.
Deb, could you swing around to the other side of that just to give a little bit more depth? There's a lot of light flooding in, but look at this side and look at these elements. Yeah, and then come in a little, look at how it almost is, the light's almost eating the glass and glowing from within. And we all know these are all lit from above, but it's beautiful to see the gold leaf on some of the elements as well. This was designed specifically for the space, sorry. Yeah, for this space, the scale and the way, the long view from the end of the table all the way through your gallery space. It's pretty effective.
This piece is very much like if you've been to the Seattle Symphony Hall, Benaroya Hall, there are 2 large chandeliers in the hall that are similar to this piece.
So Deb, maybe we can walk into the interior gallery and see the Black Basket collection. As we're heading that way, Susan, Dale's been working with the basket series since the late 70s. And in fact, this show in some ways is reminiscent of an installation that he did at the Seattle Art Museum. I think it was his first show at the Seattle Art Museum. Can you talk a little bit about that installation and how it connects to this work?
When we started talking about exhibiting in your space, we were talking about that first exhibition where Dale blew baskets the whole summer long and then displayed them at Seattle Art Museum. And at that time, it was on like diamond plate metal tables that he intentionally rusted to give a beautiful texture to it, but it also, the colorization was very similar to the color of the baskets. And there was just multitudes of baskets. You don't have an image of that to pop up or anything.
I don't, I'm sorry.
That's okay. That were just strewn pretty much along, not carefully placed like this. And they were just beautiful. And it's one of the exhibits I wish I had seen in person. Bill, did you happen to see that exhibit in person? It was 1977, it should have been.
I did, yeah.
Yeah, I believe the tables were a little bit lower as well, but that was the inspiration for the way he saw the work in your space. Knowing your space because he used this interior space before with the Rotolo series and knew how controlled the light was. With this setting right now and our iPhones, it's showing it a little bit lighter than when you really see it in person. So it's changing the colors of the 2 blacks that were used during the blow. But look at the inside of this one. What did you say about one?
I think I had kind of a goofy quote. I think I said it looks like a universe in there.
Oh,
it does. But it really does. It's like you could just fall into that space and get lost. It's so beautiful, that tangle of white lines. And I love how Dale and the team were able to take this traditional Merletto technique and really find their own voice with it. You know, it's so, when I think about the Italian technique, I really, you know, the Venetian, it's so tight and patterned and all about the regularity of it. And Dale has taken that very traditional technique and just like pulled it apart and loosened it up and made it into this almost like, I mean, people come in and they think that it's text or like cursive writing or something because of the way it just, they look like threads of white running throughout.
It does.
This piece that you're coming up to, Deb, is one of my favorites in the exhibition. It's a really stunning little basket collection. And I love how the outer piece has some transparency to it, and then the inner forms are almost pure black and white.
Yeah, it's a strong.
I actually think this is, excuse me for saying this, but some of the sexiest work Dale made.
Well, it's that
Really
red,
is.
right? It's like that almost like
It's that
Ferrari
black and red,
lipstick
white.
red.
They're so luscious.
And the forms are pretty sexy too. That interior that Deb is. You want to put your hand by it for scale, Deb? You can kind of see how large some of these pieces are. There's Deb's hand right there.
So Susan, are these, I mean, I know that Dale has worked in large scale on a lot of different projects, and in particular, like the installations where there's different kind of component pieces to make a larger sculpture. But these individual blown glass forms, are these some of the largest that Dale has made?
Well, in the basket series, some of the largest sizes are in the 40s, and I believe you have a couple pieces that are 40, 41, 42 inches, which it's really spectacular to see the feat it takes to make these pieces this large, and the way that the centrifugal force and gravity and the heat and the positioning, how they come about organically with these gestural pieces as the base pieces, especially. That one that Deb just passed is pretty interesting as well.
Well, and correct me if I'm wrong, but you really only get one shot, right? That last heat, and then they pull it out of the furnace and let gravity do its thing and let centrifugal force do its thing. And there's a certain amount of control to that, but there's a certain amount of just letting nature take its course. And some of these get so big that it's not like you can put it back in and reheat it and try again, right?
Right.
Not once it goes asymmetrical.
Yeah.
When it's loose.
Sorry, Bill. That's true.
And Dale, I have to add, in this particular series, you can see on a video that we've posted, Dale was very involved in this whole series of pieces. He's involved in all of his work, but more so recently in this work because he's been pretty excited about it and in the hot shop all the time, and putting up the show and installing the show and the way it was installed. Looked pretty happy about the whole thing.
Yeah, it was in a really good creative time last summer. It was really fun to be around and be a part of it, even though I have no technical skills. And but just to be with that energy of the involvement and him drawing while they were blowing the glass too. You can see that in some of your films as well, and the direction and his vision of what he really wanted to see with these pieces. There's not very many of these Merletto pieces. There were quite a few blown, but we ended up with less than a couple of dozen pieces. So it's a very special time in Dale's life to create this. During his career, his last big major series was the Rotolo, and he did some painting with vitreous glass enamels on glass panels called Glass on Glass. But he's continuing to create. He's continuing to do new things and testing new things all the time. It's really, really, really was fun to be a part of it.
It is, and it's pretty extraordinary for an artist at his stage in his career to be so inspired and engaged, and to continue to innovate and make a whole new kind of body of work. It's really amazing. And it's exciting for us, you know, we really want to work to make sure that these pieces are included in some major collections and are considered by museums because they're really important works. And I think really, you know, in the trajectory of Dale's career, but also the basket series and all the work, I think tell a really important story.
Yeah, that one is really quite a large one. Did we get to see inside the pieces too? The camera is showing that the lip wrap is going yellow, when in fact, when you first walk into the room, all the red lip wraps just glow, and they glow red. You really don't see that yellow in person, do you, Sarah?
No, not at all. It's a really rich, solid red color. And I think what's happening here is that the iPhone camera is trying to take a dark room and make it lighter than it is. So um, trying to compensate, but we don't really want it to.
So you and Bill have had a long relationship with Dale. You pretty much, Sarah, your whole life, and Bill, it's been quite a long time since you first hung out at Pilchuck and was part of the whole start of things.
I think I first went up to Pilchuck probably around 1977. And then I would go up every year and do a Pilchuck show every year for many years, and then we started doing individual artist exhibitions with Lino and Dante and Sonia and Dale and others. So Dale and I go back, since 1977 or earlier. Actually, a little earlier.
Probably. I think, I don't want to call you out, Sarah, but what year were you born?
I was born in 79.
Yeah. So.
But yeah, so the year the gallery was founded was 1977. And so that would make sense that would be, you would have gone up there around that same time or just before. And Pilchuck is about to celebrate its 50th anniversary this coming year.
It was actually Annie Gould Hallberg who introduced me or encouraged me to show glass in the gallery to highlight what they were doing up at Pilchuck. They were doing all this work, and they were she wanted a venue in Seattle where they could see what was going on. So it was then when we started doing the Pilchuck shows, and as a result met Dale, of course. But Annie bought the very first piece of glass we ever sold from the gallery.
That's really cool. And she never missed one of your shows, did she?
Or John Hallberg, he was always there too. He was a bit intimidating. He was a big timber man, and I remember being scared every time he walked in the door, but he was always so gentle and kind.
No, they were incredible visionaries and patrons of the arts, for sure. I mean, our community wouldn't be what it is without their leadership.
And Dale, who really started that and helped make that school happen, and then influenced the entire world in terms of what's going on in glass today. There are many people who emulate his work, but Dale was the original and still remains hardworking at it.
Yeah. Well, so it's just about 5:40, and we want to make sure that we open this up for a bigger conversation with our guests as well. So Susan, Bill, unless you have any kind of final thoughts that you want to make sure to add before we invite folks to jump in with questions.
Well, only that the show will be in the gallery through the month of July. So there's still, and the gallery will be open by appointment. So you can always call ahead. We're open, closed Sundays and Mondays, but then open Tuesday through Saturday and by appointment. So you can always make an appointment to come in. We have all the necessary, if you don't have masks or whatever sanitary, the gallery's kept very clean. So you're welcome to come by and see the show.
I think some of our guests have already seen it in person, which is wonderful to be able to see it in person. It's a little bit different, but I just wanted to say thank you for hosting this. Thank you for mounting a physical show. I think it's important these days. Sarah, you as a second generation of ownership and in this climate of quarantine to physically mount a show, I know it takes a lot of dedication Chihuly and all of us are very appreciative of all the work you've done to show it so magnificently.
Oh, thanks, Susan. It's definitely been a team effort, and I feel like we've learned a lot. And I know I've heard from a number of our friends and collectors that some of this is stuff that we need to carry into the future with us. Doing these virtual tours is a wonderful opportunity for collectors all over the world to be able to experience the shows and also be in community with other like-minded folks who love glass, love art, and want to celebrate it. So okay, so let's do this. Let's everybody go back into gallery view and turn your cameras back on.
Thank you, Deb.
Thank you, Deb.
Your arm must be getting tired, Deborah.
Deb, I think if you want to turn off and take a quick break, you can for a few minutes. And then if folks have specific pieces they want to ask about or things they want to point out, we can have you turn back on and revisit. And so there's, I would just love to open this up to questions from you all. I think as sort of housekeeping thing, there's a couple ways to ask questions. You can either send them in chat to me privately or to everyone. You can use your reactions to give me a thumbs up or something and indicate that you want to say something, or you can just literally raise your hand and we'll get to questions as you've got them. Yeah, Patty. Oh, I'm gonna make sure you're unmuted too. Okay, go ahead.
Oh, thank you. When did Dale first go to Pilchuck?
Dale actually started Pilchuck. He was one of the founding members of the school. So he actually, Dale approached, he was teaching at Rhode Island School of Design and would come out. He would come out in the summer months to spend time in Seattle and Tacoma with his mom. Needed a summer activity. So he approached Annie Gould Hallberg, who was a big patron of the arts in Seattle. And then Annie went to her husband, John Hallberg, who owned this tree farm in the foothills of the Pilchuck Mountains, and got him to agree to allocate part of the tree farm to start the school, Pilchuck, with Dale as the director.
So
when did he start it though?
Oh, excuse me, Patty. I was just going to interject. It was 1971, if you were asking.
1971, yes.
And Chris Taylor, who's the executive director of Pilchuck, is actually on the call with us and just put in a wonderful link. If you want to look in the chat, there's a link to the history of the Pilchuck Glass School there.
Nice.
Thanks, Chris. I've got a question in chat from Diane. Was the White Basket collection created in 2019? I think I can answer that question, and Susan will jump in if I'm wrong about anything, but yes, this whole Merletto collection was created last year in 2019. So all of the glass pieces that you see, all of the drawings that are included in this show are brand new works from the summer and fall last year.
None of this work has been exhibited anywhere else. And so we have the whole body of work at the gallery for the month of July.
Yep, we are the first to show it. I'm sure it's going to go on to museum. And
go underneath it. Just slide, go down. Bring the whole thing down and you'll get back.
This.
Mm-hmm. Oh, no, you didn't.
Is that Kendra talking?
Hi, Tom. Hi, Kendra. Did you guys have a question?
Sure. Hi, Susan.
No, it's a beautiful body of work. Really just gorgeous.
Thank you. Yeah, we think so too. We're really thrilled.
Does anyone else have any questions about the work or want to see a specific piece? Tom, are you going to get yourself to, are you guys going to get yourself to Seattle anytime?
Oh boy, we're not even sure when we're going to leave the house, let alone get on a plane or drive. Yeah, no, unfortunately, I think it's going to be a little while.
Yeah.
You know, maybe if we were youngsters, you know, like a couple of weeks ago, but
Drive up in one drive. Yeah.
maybe Bill will bring his boat down. We can go up by boat.
Yeah. Yeah, I haven't been doing much boating recently, but I would love to get out there and do some boating. The weather's getting a little better here in Seattle right now, so maybe I'll have a chance to do that. I've been trying to get Dale out on the boat, and we've talked about it for 30 to 25 years and has yet to happen.
You'd probably continue just to talk about it, I would guess.
Well, I would love to hear from any of our guests tonight. Do you have favorite pieces? Are you most drawn to the drawings, to the white baskets, to the black pieces? What are your thoughts? What are your responses?
It's, you know, Kendra and I were talking about it, and we were saying, okay, do you like the white pieces better than the black pieces, or the black, you know? And it's so hard. I mean, they're both are gorgeous. It's a little hard to tell because some of it, the light reflection changes. You know, like one that looks like it's blue, but we don't think it's blue. We think it's black, and then it's just picking up something. And same thing with the white pieces, you know, along that table there, the reflection from outside, which I think makes it really interesting.
Yeah, you know, there actually is, we didn't really point this out in the black pieces, but there really is quite a bit of color in those black pieces, just because of the way black glass is made. It's, you know, it's just a very, very dense color. And so when it's blown out more, you can see more of what that color was. So in those pieces, you see a lot of purple, you see a lot of browns, you see reds, and grays, and then in some of those pieces there is actually some blue. And I am not a glass blower, so I might be saying this incorrectly, but I think it's because maybe the oxygen has been restricted in the heating process, and so it's almost like a reduction that happens in the glass.
Yeah.
So yeah, here Deb is back on camera giving us a look.
Yeah,
at that.
so you can see, you know, from our standpoint, it looks like underneath the red lip wrap, there's almost a band of blue, and then it melts into black.
So I have a little correction.
Okay.
An expert that is joining us. There were a few pieces made in 2020 as well. So he was still tweaking and working with the work.
Cool, thank you. I have a question from Jeff about how the groupings are created. And Susan, you can probably speak best to this. Are the groupings of baskets made to be a specific family as they're being made, or are they made separately and then composed later?
There's a combination of all of that. I think everything is made with an intent, like with the blacks. There was 2 different blacks. So there would be a day of blowing one color or a morning of blowing one color, and then it would all be assessed after it's out of the annealer. So sometimes the intent was to do something in a particular way, and as they come out of the annealer and after they've been created, it creates its own voice. And Dale really has the vision to say, you know, bring me this piece, bring me that piece. And you saw that in the video a little bit, how he worked and assembled. And sometimes the piece by itself just really holds its beauty as a singular unit. And you've got several of those in the show that are just quite stunning just by themselves. They really don't need anything else. And you don't realize that until after you really see the pieces for a while. And doing it on the Evelyn room table in the boathouse, on that big long table, is with the natural light flowing in. It's a beautiful creative process.
Hi, Chris.
Bill.
Nice to see you.
Hi, Chris. I've been here all along. Susan,
Kathy, go ahead.
I just wanted to say how much I love that 35-foot table. And I'm curious, Susan, is the Evelyn room table longer by much than that? How long what's the difference between those two spaces?
It's about double.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, but the tables that Sarah and her team had to put in place that we made, our team made those tables. They weighed about 500 pounds each.
Yeah, I heard Sarah talk about it on another occasion. They just look so fantastic. It's such a beautiful installation with the chandelier at the end and that incredible, expansive glass.
Yeah, there's different sizes of tables. The outside tables are a little bit different than the inside tables, and the arrangement is as well. The architecture in this space really dictated how the show was going to be set up. Bill, who's the architect again that did your space?
George Siyama designed the space in 1991, I believe. Yeah, it was meant to be a gallery inside a gallery, and it's turned out, it hasn't changed, with the exception of removing some of those walls, adding and removing some of the walls. The spaces remain the same throughout this period from 91 to now. And it's functioned so well for us. We've loved that space.
Dale mentioned that to you as well, Sarah.
Yeah. So we've got a question from Daniel. Let's see. So would you mind chatting about the difference between the baskets whose large openings are on top, the majority of them are like this, and the baskets which fold over onto themselves and the large opening on the side instead? Sure, we can talk about that. I mean, so, all of these works, if you've seen Dale do the basket series before, they create the sort of basic vessel form, and then they get the piece hot enough so that when they pull it out of the furnace and it's still on the blowpipe, Jim or whoever the glass blower is who's working on it can use centrifugal force and gravity to let the glass just kind of fall into that shape. And it's quite a dramatic moment in the process. There is some of that they can predict. I suspect the team at this point has a pretty good idea of how much centrifugal force to use if you want a more open form versus gravity to use if you want a slightly more closed form. They also, Dale, in that process is, often they're kind of directing the team like a little bit more, a little, open it more, or there might be somebody who's actually using tools or a paddle to kind of push in the form a little bit to get more or less of that shape. Susan, you want to add anything to that?
No, I'm not a glass blower. That's not my expertise, but it certainly is very exciting to watch how these shapes form, because you start with something that's perfectly on center, picked up perfectly on center, blown with the hole in the center of the bubble, and then all of a sudden it's sliding off the pipe, and it's this big like slider piece, like the piece Bill likes, and Dale particularly likes that one too. How that happens is magic as far as I'm concerned, but I'm sure it's heat and a whole bunch of other factors. It's something else to see in person, and then the final result, it's exquisite to see all the differences.
Hey, Deborah, can you go back to my favorite one again? That's, I think, an example of what he was talking about in terms of where the basket encloses other baskets. That particular one is fairly unique that way. Most of the baskets tend to be very open at the top, where this one it really does kind of enclose the other pieces. That's a fairly unusual combination.
Yeah, the color in that one too, I think I mentioned before, it's not on just clear glass. There's a bit of that opaque white that is part of the bubble as well. And sometimes you can see the intensity of the white around the lip wrap, and a little clear as it blows through. It's nice to see everybody's comments popping up.
You know, Chris Taylor just asked a quick question. I know he's got to go, but he just was saying, did you mention what Merletto meant? And for those who missed it, the Merletto just means lace in Italian. And so this cane working technique is so lace-like, you know, and that's actually a technique that I believe was first seen used by Archimedes Seguso in like the 15th century in Venice. So it's, you know, it's a many generations old technique, and something that you see used in a lot of Venetian work, less commonly in American studio glass. But again, I think that, you know, Dale's application of it is quite extraordinary.
Are you going to send out maybe the link to that video, or has everybody?
Yeah. So what we will do, and we are right at 6 o'clock here. So our hour is up. But what we will do is we have your emails. Thank you all for registering for this. That allows us to know who was here, and we will send a little follow-up note that has the collateral material that we've developed. So there's a tour, a self-guided tour that you can take of the gallery. It's a 3D scan of the gallery you can walk through. There's a video of Dale and Leslie and me and Bill and Susan walking through the exhibition together. There is a really wonderfully produced video of Dale working on these pieces in the hot shop. And there's also the exhibition catalog. So there's lots of ways that you can see all of this work and engage with it. And I would encourage you to jump into those materials and share them with anybody who you think might be interested. And yeah, I mean, really, thank you all so much for being here tonight. It's so lovely to see all your faces, and we miss you. And if you're in Seattle, come by and visit. We'd love to have you. We're all wearing our masks and sanitizing regularly. So
I want to send my thanks too to everyone. I'm so happy to be able to be here and share this with all of you and be around to see this new technology at work.
It's really nice to see old friends and new friends. Miss everybody. Stay in touch.
Thanks, you guys.
Okay, bye.
Have a wonderful evening. Thanks for joining.
Thanks.
Beautiful.